team like Kyrie and KD, or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s, but no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawg, and we back to it. You know how we do it. The Dennis Rodman-Gregg Popovich beef was so nasty it could have ruined both of their careers. That's so interesting because I had no clue that these two had a beef. But before we get into this video, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We are on the way to 10K. So help me out. You right there that's watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. You can go subscribe, then come back to the video. You ain't even gotta wait to the end of the video to hit the button, because I already know you're gonna like this one, so you can like the video. And then write something in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this beef. And it must be pretty serious if it could have ruined both of their careers. But let's get into it. We got the Dennis Rodman-Gregg Popovich beef that was so nasty it could have ruined both of their careers. And also, by the way, this YouTube channel is called Secret Base. It's a really good YouTube channel. And I've been like looking at all the different videos on there, and there's so many good stories on there. So you right there that's watching, go ahead and look at their videos and then tag them onto mine and let me know which one you want me to react to, because I'm gonna probably react to all of them, but whichever ones y'all send first, I'm probably gonna react to those first. I'm gonna give those priority. But yeah, let's get into this one. Let's get it.
This is Dennis Rodman, the extraordinary rebounder who dyed his hair, had piercings, and once kicked a cameraman really hard. And this is Gregg Popovich, the former military man turned executive turned coach whose values include order, discipline, and respecting authority. You might be thinking, is this a children's video trying to teach the concept of opposites? It could be, but because these two spent the '94 season together on the Spurs, it's something else.
Let's get into it.
On the Bad Boy Pistons in the late 80s and early 90s, Dennis Rodman blossomed from a second-round pick to an elite defender and rebounder, and collected 2 rings in the process. He was known for effort and grit. Sure, he could be a little rough, as was the Bad Boy's style, but he wasn't the eccentric rebel just yet. That came after Spurs GM Bob Bass traded for him in 1993. In that 93-94 season, Rodman began dyeing his hair and dated Madonna. He was having fun, expressing himself and enjoying his celebrity. Rodman also led the league in techs and had to have a meeting with Commissioner David Stern about his on-court outbursts. Basically, he kept headbutting people. He'd also show up late to practice, have Madonna in the locker room, skip pregame warm-ups, and the Spurs were cool with it all. Coach John Lucas was always in his corner. In this example, he says Rodman can be late to practice because he's not a shooter. Lucas might have been so lenient because Rodman was good for the team. He led the league in rebounds. He took defensive pressure off of scoring champion David Robinson. And the Spurs finished with 55 wins. So why not let the guy come late and headbutt a few people? You can't argue with success. But you can argue with Rodman getting ejected and then suspended in the opening round of the playoffs, a round in which the Spurs were upset 3-1. Now, Dennis Rodman wasn't the only reason the Spurs were eliminated, but you wouldn't know it based on how they reacted and moved forward. They got an all-new front office that was hell-bent on running a tight ship. The Air Force has ships, right?
I don't know.
New President Robert McDermott was a former Air Force pilot who still liked to be called General by everyone. And he hired Gregg Popovich to be the new GM. Pop started his career coaching with the Air Force, where he'd also played. He eventually moved on to the NBA as an assistant coach under Larry Brown. On the Spurs, in fact. The strict, no-nonsense Brown was a mentor who Popovich styled himself on. When he moved on to assistant coach under Don Nelson, a more laid-back players coach, Popovich served as the heavy. And that's where Pop was, assisting in Golden State, when the Spurs GM offer landed on his plate. How did 5 years as an NBA assistant coach qualify him for a GM job? Well, the new president liked a lot of Pop's background, mainly the military stuff and focus on discipline. As his daughter explained, Daddy knew Popovich had been at Golden State under Nelly, but the commitment to discipline sold him. Why am I quoting the CEO's daughter? Because she was friends with Popovich's wife, and maybe that had some influence on
I think it sounded like it. She was
So
vouching
he
for
got
her.
the GM job, but the jury was still out on whether or not he deserved it. For the 94-95 season, we have one man, hired for a disciplinary focus, eager to prove himself. And we have another, lead technical foul leader, used to free reign. Teamed up on a championship hopeful.
Sounds like a recipe
The
for
beef began in
disaster.
preseason. Dennis Rodman missed the bus to training camp. Pop and head coach Bob Hill yelled at him. Pop also fined him. A week and a half later, Rodman, who was injured, arrived to a preseason game during the second quarter.
What?
Pop fined him 15 times what the Players Association allowed for a missed game. And Rodman didn't even miss the whole game. Rodman was doing what he did last year, making his own rules and schedule, and Popovich was drawing a very hard line, telling him that would not be tolerated. In fact, very little would be tolerated. Pop fined the guy for wearing jeans on a team flight.
What?
Was Popovich coming down too hard on a talented but difficult guy? Nobody thought.
How do y'all feel about this? Do y'all think that Popovich should have kind of, chilled out on him a little bit and just let him be himself? Or do y'all like the fact that Popovich is like, I don't care who you are, like, I'm gonna treat everybody the exact same. If everybody has to wear this, you gonna have to wear this. Like, there is no you can kind of do it, but he can't. Like, everybody is the same. Like, let me know how y'all feel about that. Or do y'all think that you sometimes gotta treat other people equally? Because everybody's different, so you can't treat everybody the same. But let me know how y'all think about that.
Thought so. That talented guy got suspended during the playoffs, remember? Plus, Pop had the support of the team. Yes, he fomented that support in meetings behind Rodman's back, but that's not what the public saw. In the papers, David Robinson, who last year heaped praise upon Rodman for helping him and the team, suddenly seemed to regard Rodman as a detriment, and preseason troubles bled into the regular season. When Rodman was ejected from the final preseason game, Popovich suspended him for 3 regular season games, and threatened longer suspensions if Rodman didn't change.
Damn.
Rodman did not change. He skipped the first practice after his suspension. This led to Popovich saying Rodman needed to grow up, which, believe it or not, did not convince Rodman to listen to him or abide by his rules. 2 days later, after meeting with Rodman, the Spurs put him on a paid leave of absence. Apparently, there was more under the surface of this push-and-pull power struggle. There was also a contract dispute. Rodman came to San Antonio on a 2-year, $4.8 million contract. Then GM Bob Bass said they'd redo his contract, handsomely, after the '94 season. But then Bass resigned under pressure, and the new administration, to quote Rodman, mostly Greg Popovich, said they knew nothing about the promised new contract. With Rodman
Damn.
out for 3.5 weeks, the Spurs went 8-9. That's not the record of a team with championship expectations. Rodman was expected back December 8th, but called out because of a car break-in. Popovich said that was not a valid excuse, and let his irritation show. But a few days later, Popovich let Rodman rejoin the team, saying the forward had met the necessary guidelines to rejoin the team. A premise which Dennis Rodman did not recognize. GM and player were not on the same page, and it was difficult to see how they'd ever... Oh, wait. The Spurs were way better with Rodman.
Oh, shit.
Up until March 16th, they went 33-9 in the 42 overall games Rodman played. With Rodman, the Spurs got to again dream of a championship. Why am I stopping the count on March 16th? Because on that date, Rodman showed up to a game during the second quarter.
A real game?
Popovich didn't suspend him or fine him. Instead, he kind of said Rodman was a good guy. That's a change. Oh, by the way, Rodman had the second most rebounds in the league at this point, despite not playing in a game until mid-December. He was averaging 17.4 rebounds a game.
Damn!
On March 19th, Rodman separated his shoulder in a motorcycle accident. His contract forbade him from riding motorcycles, but Popovich again took no disciplinary action. Dennis missed 14 games. The Spurs won the first 12, and their championship dream seemed less fantastical by the day. But then they lost the following two. Damningly, they lost to the second best team in the West because they lacked physicality down low. If
They
the Spurs
needed
were gonna
Dennis
do this
Rodman.
thing, they needed Rodman. And thus, Popovich was backing down. He wasn't happy about it. When Rodman returned from injury, he had a dominant game. And Popovich took umbrage with how much airtime Rodman got as a result. You know the old saying, if you can't suspend them, limit their TV exposure when they're doing well because you still hate them. Hey, at least everybody could feel good about the Spurs finishing with the league's best record. Robinson won MVP, Rodman won his fourth straight rebounding title, and the verdict was in on Popovich. He absolutely deserved his GM.
Did they have Tim Duncan?
Part of the praise.
Did they have Tim Duncan yet? Like, or better, I guess that I'm actually that, and also like, was there ever a time if they didn't have Tim Duncan, but was there ever a time where they had David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Dennis Rodman? Like, that would be a crazy three bigs. Like, that'd be wild. Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and Dennis Rodman. Like, that's probably like you don't get no rebounds against them three.
Was because he stood up to Rodman. Before the playoffs, Popovich addressed his attempts to change Rodman. This is not a great way to talk about a person.
The wild horse.
And it raises some questions. Would the postseason see Popovich resign to letting Rodman be Rodman? Or was there trouble ahead? I wonder...
Some beef? Some beef?
Alright, Spurs are in the conference semis, up 2-0. In Game 3, head coach Bob Hill subbed Rodman out, and Rodman disagreed with the move. On the bench, he shed his shoes, put a towel over his head, laid down, and didn't join a huddle.
Threw a
He'd
tantrum.
done the shoe thing before, but still, this looked bad. As a result, Rodman didn't play in Game 4. The Spurs were making disciplinary moves in the playoffs? I thought we cleared this up. If they wanted a title, they needed Rodman. I mean, they did win Game 4, but why risk it? Still in the doghouse, Rodman didn't start Game 5, which they lost.
John Stockton?
Now, this kind of looks like the beef has
I know he played for
shifted
the
from
Spurs.
Pop versus Rodman to Hill versus Rodman. Dennis isn't suspended these games. He suited up, then Hill left him on the bench. But as Rodman explained in his book, he 100% believed Popovich was pulling Hill's strings, and Rodman's beef was with the puppet master, not the puppet. The Spurs advanced to the Western Conference Finals, where they had bigger problems than Rodman. Hakeem Olajuwon was outplaying David Robinson. I mean, there were still problems with Rodman, of course. He took offense when he was benched for the final play of Game 1. In Game 2, Rodman only played 3 minutes in the second half, 17 minutes total. This was perhaps punishment for his attitude at the end of Game 1, perhaps punishment for an article released after Game 1
Damn.
in which Rodman said he didn't care about basketball.
That's deep.
In Game 4, Rodman got to play and was great. With 12 offensive rebounds, 19 total, he was the heart of the victory. But then he showed up to the following practice 40 minutes late. Hill
This
and
guy.
or Popovich yanked him from the starting lineup in Game 5, which was a loss. And the Spurs were eliminated a game later.
Oh, Vinny Del Negro.
Popovich was tight-lipped about Rodman throughout the postseason and most of the offseason, perhaps because he didn't want to drive down Rodman's trade potential. October 2nd, Popovich traded Rodman to the Bulls, and in return received only non-rebound champion, non-starter, non-difference maker Will Perdue. Sorry, Perdue, but come on, look at the numbers. But guess who
16.8
wasn't looking at
rebounds?
the numbers? To him, just getting rid of Rodman made a championship more likely. After the trade, Popovich let some pent-up feelings fly, sharing his side of the contract dispute. Teammates revealed their relationship was even worse than the suspensions and benching implied. In his book, published a year later, Rodman fired back at the GM, blaming him for everything.
Nah, that looks like that ended up being pretty false. But yeah, let me know how y'all feel about this so far. Dennis Rodman obviously wasn't focused on basketball. He never really cared about basketball that much. He just wanted to go out there and play hard and you know, do what he had to do, but he didn't want to be treated like the rest of the basketball world. Like everybody else wanted to be on time and, you know, getting extra shots and, you know, work super hard like on their games, where Dennis Rodman was like, all I'm gonna do is just work hard, chase this rebound down, get 10, 15 rebounds, and that's all y'all getting from me. But I feel like Gregg Popovich had a mindset where he's like, I would rather lose without Dennis Rodman than win with him. Like I don't want to have Dennis Rodman on my team. I don't care if we're winning, because we're not going to win a championship with him. So yeah, we can win all these regular season games or whatever, but we're not going to win a championship with Dennis Rodman. So I don't want him on my team at all. So let me know how y'all feel about that. Do y'all feel like Gregg Popovich was wrong, like for, you know, treating Dennis Rodman wrong, or do y'all think Dennis Rodman was really the person in the wrong? And I honestly feel like it's all Dennis Rodman. And this right here is kind of funny by him saying that the biggest problem in San Antonio was Gregg Popovich. Where Gregg Popovich done won, what, 5, 6 rings since he's been there. So I don't think it was Gregg Popovich, Dennis Rodman.
He summarized the beef as simply Popovich, above all else, wanting to make a name as the man who tamed Dennis Rodman. Tamed. Where have I heard that word before?
It's like an animal.
Oh, right. From Popovich.
I mean,
Popovich didn't successfully tame Rodman, but the unknown rookie GM still enhanced his reputation for how he stood up to the rebellious forward. Rodman's reputation at the end of the '95 season, however, was pretty low. San Antonio could have been the end of Rodman. He could have seen his career wither away as the problem child nobody wanted, benched to oblivion while his talent rotted. But that's not what happened. He thrived with the Bulls and collected 3 more rebounding titles, and oh yeah, 3 more NBA championships too. Now, Rodman's success in Chicago could have reflected poorly on Pop. He suspended and wasted a once-in-a-lifetime talent because of attendance and insubordination. He traded away that talent for nothing. Sorry, well, Purdue, just comparatively. This could damn Popovich. But that's not what happened.
They both thrived somewhere else.
Coach of the Spurs and won 5 titles. So that's more what he's known for. As unpleasant as it was at the time, this beef got Rodman to the Bulls and helped launch Popovich's career. And then their successes eclipsed this beef. But it certainly makes you wonder what these clearly talented guys could have accomplished together if they had just been totally different people. You know what? Never mind.
That's it.
Thank you for watching, every single one of you. I'm not going to do personalized thank yous this time, but just know that I am grateful. Check out some other videos, subscribe, and for Secret Base, I'm Clara Morris. Good night and good game.
Great video. Damn, I forgot Kawhi Leonard kind of had a little beef with the Spurs too, but I appreciate y'all for watching this one with me. This was a really, really great video. I love these Secret Base videos. We're about to dive into all of them. So it's a really exciting time. It's exciting to be able to just find a collage of videos that I feel like we can all learn from. And that's the main goal. Yes, I want to grow. I always talk about, you know, these 1,000 subscribers and liking and all that. But my main goal is to learn more about basketball. To like expand our basketball knowledge. All of y'all. Everybody that's watching my videos, I want to be able to expand our basketball knowledge, get smarter about the game, learn about stuff we didn't know about. Like, I feel like that's the beauty of this stuff. And with that, you know, all the other stuff can come with it. But again, man, I appreciate y'all like always. We out.